My hair is poofing out like a 80s action figure. Welcome, everyone, to the Completely Unnecessary Podcast for Tuesday, February 2nd, 2021. That's Ian Ferguson with the Duck Dynasty beard. I'm Pat Contry. On the show today, we'll be talking about the Switch is doing okay. It's doing okay, the Nintendo Switch. We're talking about a video game from the mid-90s that we didn't know about, an arcade game that was revealed.
Yeah.
We'll also be talking about an update to the all-controller Kickstarter from years past that we almost forgot about, and a Patreon poll. Ian, how was your weekend? Was it good?
It was busy. It was real busy. I feel like we just sat down to do this podcast like yesterday.
We sat down for 248. This is 249, buddy. Can you believe that? 249?
249.
249 times at least, not counting in conventions and mini episodes. We had to put up with each other about 4.5 feet away from each other, 5 feet away.
It's wild. I can't believe
that's some wild stuff.
It's wild stuff. Wild is one of those words that I fall back on.
You are correct.
Way too much. Anyway, yeah, weekend was good. Vonnie and I finished watching Avatar: The Last Airbender. I really enjoyed that show.
The series?
Yeah, I understand why people like it. We started...
Well, I'm glad, Ian.
Yeah.
Glad you're not flummoxed by that question.
We started the Night Stalker documentary.
There's a Night Stalker doc? I thought I was thinking about the game Night Stalkers.
No.
The one I talked about 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah.
How is it so far? You like it?
Yeah, I mean, I
know how it ends.
I had a period of time where I read up on the serial killers. I know about Richard Ramirez, but it's a very well done doc. And I think Netflix is really, obviously it's not it's different directors and studios, I'm guessing, that are doing all these, but they've really got the 4-part true crime limited series down cold. They do a really good job with that. Between like that one, the Ripper murders.
Did they do the disappearance of Madeline McCann? Did they do that one?
I think so.
Because that was really, really good.
That one I need to watch still. I heard the Aaron Hernandez one is good. That's another 4-part.
That's the one I didn't watch because I don't want to watch that one. For some reason, that one is kind of, I'm weirded out by that one. I can't explain why.
Look, I know I was the person. I've always been the person who's watched a lot of true crime, and I've always been the person who is kind of like weirdly disassociated from it. Like, we always joke and talk about how we can fall asleep watching, Forensic Files or something like that.
It was eight episodes, The Disappearance of Madeline McCann. There's a lot of stuff that happens to go on. Yeah.
Sure. But as I'm getting older, and I think maybe it's just the fact that the pandemic is depressing and we've all been stuck inside, it has gotten a little bit harder to blow through some of this true crime stuff. Like it's just, especially like the Night Ripper. Like, Richard Ramirez is a fucking psycho.
A Night Stalker, you mean?
Yeah. I mean, just an absolute.
Oh, he's the worst one.
Yeah.
Like I even said, there was no method to any of what he was doing everything.
Right. So yeah, it weighed on me more than most true crime does, and it's good. Maybe it means I'm becoming slightly more human.
But that it's affecting you?
Yeah, exactly.
I just think it's interesting because the stories are more captivating than fiction.
Yes.
Truth is stranger than fiction. It's more entertaining most of the time.
I think that's honestly where I started to get more into nonfiction, was when I was, reading true crime and various documentaries. I'm like, I like fiction, don't get me wrong, but you get crazy stories from real life all the time.
Real life is less predictable. Well, I'm watching a movie now, or I'm watching, not because I also like to write, but I know where the story's going to go. I'm rarely surprised by.
Well, because in real life there isn't, there's not 3 acts that you have to play through.
Yeah, and it's not like, that guy we saw at the ATM ends up being the killer. No, that doesn't happen in real life. That shit doesn't happen. You don't remember something from 3 weeks ago that you remember in the last 20 seconds to solve the case. That shit doesn't happen. So. It's like true boots to the ground police work, and that's why I like that. I thought you it's like, these are what we went through. This is us painstakingly trying to solve these horrific crimes that keep piling up.
And I'm weird. Like, I definitely have my issues with cops, especially beat cops. But detective work is something that is interesting to me. There are certain things that, you're watching, like, say, the Night Ripper one, the Night Stalker one, and you're like, it's impressive. You
need people to solve this shit.
The whole thing that, and it drove me nuts when I was, reading about him the first time. But the fucking the dentist part of it was genius and also heartbreaking in terms of how they missed it.
I brought that up when I talked about, like, they missed out on them because the LAPD fucked up.
Yep.
That was a problem.
A couple times the LAPD fucked up.
So because it was the LAPD, which oversees the county, and then you have the local sheriff office and everything, and they have to work together, and they just wanted to fucking get the prints off the car, and the LAPD was stonewalling them.
Yep.
Just to get fucking prints. And then it was like, there were so many times where they could have caught the guy, and it would have probably prevented deaths, unfortunately, and assaults. And
anyway, other than that, I made a really good pork bone stock.
Oh, okay, well, that's good.
That's what else I did.
Made a stock.
A delicious tonkatsu stock, milky white, full of fat.
Intermittent fasting.
Delicious.
Milky and full of fat.
Milky and full of fat.
That's how thick my quick pat was. Absolutely. I drank too much milk.
How about you? What did you do this weekend?
I caught up on I had to do some we'll just say some bookkeeping for the N64 project, and then I played God, I always forget the name of the fucking thing. I played and reviewed what's I always get confused in order. Asteroids Hyper 64. I knew 64 was in there, but I always give it Hyper. Which is a remake, a reimagining of the original Asteroids, which is one of my favorite classic arcade games. I said it before. It's probably my top 4 or 5 arcade games that I love, and I always play it in the arcade. And it's a good remake. I mean, they did as much as they possibly could with Asteroids, keeping it on a single screen. You fly around and shoot asteroids. I mean, they did as much as you possibly could. So I gave it a positive review. I actually enjoyed it. I was like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah, I know people who have enjoyed it. I mean, when it came out, I don't know that I would have paid whatever the full retail price.
Well, that's what I'm discovering. It's like I'm not looking at old past reviews to glean what they thought necessarily, but a lot of this stuff is like, I don't think it's worth $60. People like 20 years ago were saying shit like that. And I get that,
and that's fair.
That shouldn't factor into, is the game good or not. That's a value proposition,
right? And that's always been my problem with reviews. Like, there's going to be a lot of people when Pokemon Snap comes out who are like, it's not worth the 60. Well, maybe not to you, but it's probably going to be worth it to me.
No one says that about movies. Well, it's not worth $15 to see the movie. It's like, no, is it good or not? Is the album worth buying? That's what it comes down. That's what it should be.
Explain what it is, and we'll make the decision whether or not we want to pay that amount for it or wait for it to go down in price.
That's moot in 2020 for these games anyway. But back then, I could see why. It's like, don't pay $60 for a game 20 years ago that it's spiritually the same game. It's just a fresh coat of paint.
The $5 that it costs now, though, it's like
if this game came out nowadays, it'd be a $5 game.
It'd be a $10 eShop game. You can buy it used for $5.
It wouldn't be a free. This wasn't quite like a free mobile game. It's like a little step above that to me, but it would be sort of realm there. So what was I talking about?
What you did this weekend.
Oh, yeah, that's what I did. I also checked out the GameStop craziness.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't talk about it last Tuesday. That's when it was heating up. It was heating up because, to me, it was more of a financial topic, a really strange niche financial topic, versus gaming. Because if you swapped out...
This is not a gaming topic at all.
It really isn't.
I had this conversation with someone in a Lift yesterday. I was like, it could have been...
In a Lift that came up? Jesus Christ.
Oh, it was a good conversation, too. The guy was really good. We were both on the same page. We were both for the little guy. I like it when I have a Lyft driver where we can really...
for the little guy talking
We can really converse, about something. But that's what I was trying to explain to him, because he was older and he didn't really understand games. And I'm like, it doesn't...
It has nothing to do with GameStop.
It could have been absolutely any other stock that was being shorted.
It only has anything to do with GameStop due to the fact that GameStop is outlook long term is so bad that so many investors and hedge funds are shorting it. That's where it begins and ends with GameStop. So It has nothing to do with the outlook of GameStop. The stock increases have nothing to do with the potential success of GameStop, other than the company potentially gets a cash infusion by people putting money in, but it's going to come out eventually anyway. The company's still in the same spot unless they can radically rehaul and go digital, which I guess is what the Chewy guy wants to do, but I don't think you're ever going to get back up to the stature of having all the physical locations versus you're competing digitally with everyone else, including digital game sales. So it's like it's tough. Anyway, so the volatility of the stock is a story, but again, it really has very little to do with GameStop itself. So, do you want to explain? I can
what a short is. Basic. Look,
using the Mario Ball, you want to explain what a short is?
I had an example.
Okay, I have an example,
and I think it was one online too. And this is not perfect. You can slay me, but basically, what happened is, shorting a stock, hedge fund managers look at something and they go, okay. Basically, they borrow a stock. They have to give it back by a certain date.
Miss Pac-Man. Okay.
So I want to borrow Pat's bike.
His Mario Ball.
I want to borrow Pat's Mario Ball. Someone offers me, I can sell the Mario Ball for $5.
Miss Pac-Man wants it for $5.
Miss Pac-Man wants it for $5. I sell the Mario Ball to Miss Pac-Man for $5 because I think I'm going to be able to rebuy the Mario Ball for $2.
Right. You borrowed it from me basically to sell it. So
I borrowed it from Pat.
I don't have any money yet.
Sold it to Miss Pac-Man.
She has it.
For $5.
Okay.
Because I feel like I'm going to be able to go and buy another Mario Ball for $2.
To give back to me.
To give back to Pat.
And keep the profits.
So not only do I get to borrow Pat's Mario Ball, which is totally sweet, but I get to make a little money on the side.
Sure. If the price goes down.
But all of a sudden, I sell the Mario Ball to Miss Pac-Man, and all of a sudden, everyone loves these fucking Mario Balls. And now I can't find a Mario Ball to save my life, and the Mario Balls are going for like $200, $300.
So at some point, Pat needs his Mario Ball back. I need it back at some point. I can wait, but at some point, I'm owed it back.
In real life, you can usually push that deadline along. In stocks, there is a deadline that has to be back. Essentially, that has to be paid back. So what happened is people noticed that GameStop was shorting the stocks. Basically, people were borrowing these stocks and selling them off.
To an obscene degree.
140%
of the available stock. So imagine if Ian, I'm owed a Mario Ball. Ian can't find one to give back to me while he's already losing money on the replacement, and the price keeps going up because everyone's buying Mario Balls.
Right.
That's the situation. You can't even get out with a huge loss. It's compounding on itself.
Right. I can't stop the bleed.
So if we'll just say Danny Sullivan knows that Ian's in a bind to get a Mario Ball, Danny's like, well, fuck you, Ian. I'm going to buy as many Mario Balls as I see to drive the price up even more, and not only screw you, but the price of the Mario Balls go up if I hold on to them.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening, in essence.
So, basically, the people on Wall Street Bets, the Reddit channel, got wind that GameStop was horribly shorted. So they went out and, through a concerted effort, bought as much GameStop as they could.
And drove the price wacky.
Drove the price
from like
up.
$20 to over $300. Destroyed
some hedge funds in the process. Some people made some life-changing money. I mean, this is, I think, going to be a watershed moment. This is going to be something that is going to be studied for years and looked at, and I'm sure regulation is coming because of it.
Well, the problem that I learned from my friend who knows a little about finance, it wasn't just also the fact that it was shorted. They were leverage shorts, meaning they were borrowing money, these hedge funds, borrowing money to do the short. So it's if you had to borrow money to buy the Mario Ball from me, from Miss Pac-Man. So you owe back that, and you owe me the Mario Ball and buying back, plus money to the people that gave you it to get the Mario Ball. So you're compounding on top of it how much you're getting screwed. So Wall Street fought back, of course, because this is billions of dollars at stake. This is billions of dollars at stake. It's a fight between people running these hedge funds. Some of them are millionaires, billionaires. That's what they do for a living, with regular people. So there was like shenanigans with the Robinhood app where they basically disallowed you from buying any more GameStop stock.
Free market.
Not just that, because I bought a stock with Robinhood just to see what was going on. I also bought some AMC because I actually believe AMC was getting shorted, not to the same amount, but AMC is going to come back anyway. But don't listen to my economic advice. Like I say that for legality. It's not a suggestion to buy or sell. But with my stock, when I went to the AMC stock, like with GameStop, it wouldn't even allow me to not just buy anymore. I couldn't even sell partially. Literally, it was click a button to close out your entire position. That cannot be legal. cannot be legal at all. And so there's going to be investigations looked into that, because what they allowed Robinhood, because a lot of people are trading through Robinhood, what they allowed was for some of these hedge funds to close their shorts out. The price went down from, I think, like 300 to 200. So they reshorted and got some of their money back, I believe, because no one else could buy. They closed out people from buying.
Yeah.
So market manipulation at its finest.
Yeah,
right
it's
there.
gross. Everyday Joe is allowed to lose it all on the stock market, but heaven forbid, anyone with money, anyone rich, anyone with a hedge fund lose money.
But they're gaming the system.
The market's a free market when you get fucked, but it's not a free market when they get fucked. It's the whole socialism for me, but not for thee. That comes with the rich too.
It's the one thing that brought everyone together, right and left. We're coming together to be like, this is fucking bullshit, because it's robbing you in plain sight.
Yeah.
With a gun, on the street with a gun.
I think that was also what really when I was talking to my Lyft driver yesterday. I noticed I noticed a lot of people thinking it was amusing until about midweek, when you could tell people were starting to really learn what was going on. Mm-hmm. And the thing that I think really ruffled feathers and got a lot of people pissed off was when they realized that they were selling borrowed things.
Yes.
And when you look at that, when you put it that way, and I mean, you explain that as simply as possible, that
it's not just stocks.
It's not just stocks. These are people selling things that they don't own on a whim. These people are the ones who will always tell you, don't use the fucking stock market like a casino. But that's exactly what they do. There's just such a precedent for this type of action that they don't think of it as that anymore. But it totally is, and it's totally how they work the market, and they fuck you over.
Sure. So this is what I'll say. I'm not going to recommend. I never recommend playing around with stocks. Plus, at this point, it might be too late to get in. But in theory, if there's still tons of shorts out there and more people buy, the price should go up in theory, if there's enough shorts still where they can't get out and people keep buying and driving it up. In theory. And that's as far as I know. It's been going up and down. Be very, very careful with this stuff. I bought a single GameStop stock just for the hell of it, and to see if I could be potentially part of a funny class action lawsuit if they ever end up, going after Robinhood or something. Just for the hell of it, I bought a single stock of GameStop. Probably too high, but whatever. For one, I'm like, okay, let's see where this goes. But yeah, it was very interesting. You had Elon Musk talking about it today. Mark Cuban went on the Wall Street Bets Reddit, did an AMA, and basically said, yeah, you guys if you can hold. And, he's giving the guys advice about it, because he was like, fuck these hedge fund guys. Even guys like Mark Cuban are like, this is bullshit. The other guy from Shark Tank said, yeah, Kevin O'Leary. He's like, that's the risk these hedge fund guys take. They got to live with it. So, like, most reasonable people are like, you can't manipulate the market. If you take the wins, you got to take the losses. But they don't want to take the losses.
No.
They're okay, like I said, they're okay making tons of money with borrowed stocks on borrowed cash, which is so weird. That should be illegal.
Yeah, I feel like I have a feeling, especially with how information gets around and now that this is happening, people are going to be seeking out info left and right for what stocks are currently being shorted the most. And I think what you're going to see is a lot of hedge funds being like, we can't fucking mess with this
it'll
anymore.
stop this. This is publicly available. You can look up these sort of things. But now they're going to be a little bit more careful not to. You're basically betting on companies to fail. That's basically what you're doing, or at least decrease what's going on. I'm not saying GameStop. You can talk about GameStop deserving it or not, but when they do it to such a huge amount to a company and everyone else finds out and takes advantage of it, I'll be on the side of the small guy when it comes to that.
Yeah.
So, all right. Speaking of scumbags, real quick, I don't talk about bad experiences with buyers too much, but I got taken for a ride by a buyer recently via Amazon, and this Christmas season I sold lots of N64 guidebooks. Not N64, that's in the future. Super Nintendo and NES. And the post office was really bad around the holidays for everyone because of COVID. I think they had it was like 30% less people working in the postal system. Tons of higher volume because people weren't going to stores. So if you ordered something in December or even early January, you weren't getting it for a while. I ordered something, I think around December 14th. I didn't get it till like January 10th. That never happens with the proposal. Proposal, you can say, is bad. It usually gets something in like a week.
Yeah.
A little over a week. So there were some people, not a lot, but some people were like, hey, where's my book? Where's this? And I'm like, well, it's delayed. Even the website says that it's going to be delayed. That's about, I can't do anything about it. And most people were cool with that. Once I said, it'll arrive, because there would be updates where like it's on its way somewhere, and you wouldn't see another update for a week still. Literally, they couldn't process them enough. So one guy from Philadelphia, Joe or John, either way, I'm not gonna say your last name. It was the same sort of interaction. It was like something you ordered like early January, and then 2 weeks later hadn't arrived yet. And I was like, well, there's some movement. It's on its way. And so he filed a claim against me. He filed a claim against me for the book, being that, well, it never showed up when it was still active on the tracking. And then the worst part about it is that he filed a claim, got his money back, and then the book arrived like the next day or within like 48 hours. And he knew it he must have looked at the track and said, it's in movement. So I'm like, okay, that's bullshit. I'm going to file an appeal. I filed an appeal, and Amazon, even though I said, hey, he got the book, I can't do anything about this. I communicated with them. I lost the appeal. And if the guy had any fucking moral compass, would pay for the book that he basically stole from me. And that's like the first time that's ever happened to me where someone did something like that. And it just I feel like fucking shit about something like that. It's not a woe is me, but it's like, come on, man, you're going to do that? Anyway.
Kind of shitty.
It's like the tracking's there. And Amazon screwed me too, because Amazon is like, well, it was shipped in a decent amount of time. It's just like, it was bullshit. So anyway, with that said, if you want to help replace it, go to ultimatenintendo.com, where you can buy the books, and Ian's shiny enamel pin face right there. Pin face. RBI baseball stickers and more. And N64 book will be next year, probably. Yeah, it'll be next year. I'll die trying. But no pre-orders yet. And you can order in Europe the books at pukapukagames.co.uk, your source for Puka Puka and video games. It's an adorable little mascot there. I'm also going to be on Twitch Wednesday night, twitch.tv/ContraCode. Maybe Ian will show up one day and say hi while I watch 80s commercials there.
It's possible.
You know what I would have loved to watch, Ian? A Legend of Zelda Netflix series.
I would not have.
I think it would have been fun. It would have been great.
I just don't. I was talking about this with the coworker over the weekend, and I feel like we both agree that I don't think it would work. I really don't. I don't know what you're going to do with a silent protagonist. But
it wouldn't be silent.
Well, that's the problem. He wouldn't be, and I think that would be weird.
So it was in the works, according to Adam Conover, who's Adam Ruins Everything show. I met the man at SoCal, very nice fellow. And he did a podcast, and it was revealed that around 2014, a live-action Legend of Zelda TV series was in production at Netflix. It was at the same time Conover was working on a claymation Star Fox adaptation for College Humor, which was supported by Shigeru Miyamoto. So the comedian reveals that the Legend of Zelda project at Netflix was canceled due to leaks, which I believe we mentioned on the podcast way back, and God, that seems so long ago. But Nintendo was upset by it. Conover suspects that someone within Nintendo leaked the Legend of Zelda adaptation, which caused Nintendo to cancel a slate of projects, including the Zelda adaptation and the Star Fox claymation shows. We were deprived of that, Ian.
I really would have liked to have seen the Star Fox claymation shows. I love claymation, and I like the Star Fox characters. I mean, honestly, to me, I'm not sad about not getting to see a Zelda adaptation, but I know people want to see it. I just think that's burning it all to the ground.
What?
That's burning it all to the ground for leaks. Nintendo canceling everything for a couple of leaks.
Oh yeah, that's
sends a message though.
It sends a message. No one else is ever going to do that again.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I mean, because that would have been. Then again, with Netflix, they can make 1,000 other shows and pick them up. That was the whole South Park joke about they buy everything. Netflix back in the day. Now they're a little more stringent. But yeah, that's a shame, because if they went off on that tangent 6 years ago, we're talking pre-Switch. Star Fox Wii U was coming out. You imagine if they did a successful Legend of Zelda live action show. I mean, they're doing a huge Lord of the Rings show, so I'm picturing it'll be something. It would be not the same amount of money, but well, Amazon's doing that, but it would be something like that. Like, oh, week 1 we fight the ogres here, and we fight the freaking whatever, with the moblins. They're goblins, moblins.
Yeah.
This week we go to this labyrinth. This season it'll be this game. So by now we could have had like maybe a season for not every, but multiple Zeldas potentially. Maybe you could have had like standalone series. Maybe.
Yeah.
Could have been a thing. Maybe one would be Link to the Past. One would have been Ocarina. Who knows? But maybe they could have branched off into the Legend of Zelda. Super Mario Brothers animated. I don't think there ever will be a live action Super Mario Brothers show. I can't see that happening.
Fucking God, I definitely
can't see that ever attempted again. Legend of Zelda, you could pull it off. Again, it's like Lord of the Rings. I don't think you can do that with Super Mario Brothers at all. Or you could do it with Starbucks and be creepy with those creepy puppets they bring back to face.
Oh yeah.
That'd be funny. But no, we missed out on an alternate. The timeline shifted like Back to the Future. No Nintendo stuff. They're still making that Super Mario Brothers movie, supposedly, allegedly. And then this timeline where by now we have Pikmin cartoons and.
Yeah, isn't that Super Mario Brothers movie supposed to be like 2022 or something like that? I don't know if it's been affected by. I
don't know if that'd be affected by COVID.
Don't know if that's been affected by COVID.
Super Mario Brothers movie. I think that's going to be Universal, right? Because they're doing the theme park.
Mm-hmm.
I will see. So you would not have watched The Legend of Zelda?
I would have, but I just don't think it would have been good.
September 16th, 2022 is what they have listed on IMDb. So it's going forward. But I can picture Nintendo. They've relaxed a little bit, but I can picture them being that brutal to you.
Yeah.
I can. It's not smart, I think, long term, but especially in the bad Wii U days, that was probably not the best bet. But they stuck to their guns. Nintendo. Don't reveal our Hanafuda designs. Back in 1895, they probably said it to something. They fucking took a baseball bat and ruined their shop. They have a Hanafuda card shops back then in Japan. I don't know.
Just smashing and crashing.
I read something a few weeks ago about it was nuts about the percentage the number of businesses in Japan that could be traced back to like 700 years or something. There's like hundreds that go back.
That's wild. That's
you always forget how young our country is compared to everywhere else in the world. Like, that's nuts. That's insane.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You can trace it back to like, when there's freaking samurai. Well, they technically had samurais 150 years ago, but like I'm talking the feudal Japan, like real, no tech. I should have been a samurai.
You should have been. It would have been a great one, I'm sure.
I like to fence. Or I used to fence. All right. There's a GoFundMe going on, Ian, for Fun Spot.
Yes. Fun Spot is in need of financial help, and you can do that by going to their 2021 fundraiser on GoFundMe. They are seeking $50,000 in funds to basically be able to keep the
American Classic Arcade Museum, technically.
Yeah.
ACAM.
To keep it open.
I've never been there. I've heard it's magical.
Yeah, I've heard great things. Granddaddy John D is a big fan of that place.
Do you want me to adopt you, your father?
No, I just like to call him Granddaddy John.
This is a multi-tiered. Was it multiple floors? Right. Arcade. They have. I mean, like some stuff that's breathtakingly probably rare, and they have all the classics there. And I would love to hit there. Or is it New Hampshire? I'd love to hit it up one day.
If John didn't want to be called Granddaddy John D, he shouldn't have called me drunk at 2 a.m. and referred to himself as Granddaddy John D.
Is that where the legend began?
That's where it began.
That's where the legend began.
Him leaving me a voicemail being like, well, this is Granddaddy John D. What's it going to take to get you on RetroWare TV? And I was like, I'm not doing it, John.
What did you want? Wait a minute. What did you want to do on RetroWare? What was this, like 2013? 14?
He called me drunk from MagFest 2013. Is I think what it was.
Okay.
And that's what ended up getting me out to MagFest in 2014. That and the fact that we started the podcast.
Did we? Wow.
2013.
7.5 years.
Summer of 2013. So.
Oh my God. So anyway, yeah, check it out. Help them reach their goal there. I got to get there one day. I got to get there. I got to get there. I got to get to the...
We got to keep places like this open because if they close during the pandemic, it's going to be that much harder for them to for another place like this to reopen.
Absolutely.
I would hate to see, because if the place like this closes down and there's no storage, these go into the hands of collectors, and we're never going to be able to see collections like this in one place, not in one spot again. It's important to keep them here while we have them. And
it's great to have barcades keep basically responsible for the arcade resurgence of the past. You want to say 8-10 years, they are, but I'd like to have places like this in Galloping Ghost, like these just big arcades. Like there should be more than 2 of them, or 3. I'd love to see them sprout out. Like, why isn't there one I can go to, like in Southern California? Like, that'd be great. Like a gigantic complex of them. That would be fantastic. There's like a handful of probably these things. You have the arcade, you have the Pinball Hall of Fame in Vegas, which is for basically this, but for pinball machines. There's not a lot of these things that exist, as far as I know. So anyway, what are we talking about? They're talking about did our predictions a little bit late on Google Stadia?
A little late.
Not $1 short late, but we're on track for it shutting down.
Yeah, so Google Stadia shuts down their internal game development studios. This is not them shutting down Stadia, but I think it's an extremely bad indicator as to how well this is going for them.
It's the opposite of good.
Yeah, it's the opposite of good.
This indication.
This is them basically shutting down, the... As Pat and I discussed last night, there are servers which are probably less expensive to maintain, and then there are the aspects of this experiment that are taking constant money, that are constant drain on finances, and development studios specifically for Stadia are definitely
new exclusive type of games.
Definitely is going to be a drain, and they got rid of it. So basically, what this looks like to me is Sony abandoning the Vita not even a year into it in the United States and being like, we're not making games for it anymore. Third parties can still put stuff out on it. You're still going to see support, but I think this is the beginning of what will probably be a much more rapid end to Stadia than even the Vita.
Well, there's no reason to go out and try to market anymore if you have no exclusive titles. To be like, it's not. They try to call it like a hybrid platform. It's not a platform anymore. It's just a game streaming service.
Right.
It's not a platform if there's no games for it.
Yeah. If there's not going to be anything exclusive, and there are currently still a few games on there that you can't play anywhere else, but they are all timed exclusives. I believe that Pac-Man game is a timed exclusive. I know my friend's game, Gunsport, is a timed exclusive, and I really can't wait to be able to play that.
We're talking about Gunsport forever. It seems like
I fucking love Gunsport. It's so good. I was able to beta test it. Now I want to play it on an actual platform that's not Stadia. This is not good. That's basically all I have to say about that.
So what did we say? You said like June of last year. I said like August or September.
I think I said I knew I was being very hyperbolic. But I said June of last year and you said October. So maybe we might hit June or October of this year.
Either way, I'll be the winner of that bet because I'll still be closer. But if we don't do Price is Right rules, we both went over.
Yes, we did.
I should have used that one last week for a specific time, and I didn't. So yeah, like I was saying to Ian over a glass of Chardonnay. In the jacuzzi. That's how we discuss the podcast topics. You know that.
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
I love hot tubs.
They did all the R&D for the streaming part. So
right.
That money's spent.
It's money spent.
The marketing, as shitty as they market, that's spent. Now they're just draining money by having to employ people to make games that'll come out and no one will buy. Basically, as bad as it sounds, that's what's happening. So you feel bad for these people that now have to look for work elsewhere. But at least they were employed the past months, and hopefully they can still make these games. Hopefully, the agreement they can still make these games and have them come out on their platforms. You hope.
Yep.
You hope that there's like a clause where, well, if I was working for them, I'd be like, okay, if this goes belly up, can I take this IP elsewhere that we're developing?
Yeah, am I allowed to work with these ideas? Because otherwise, it's just months of I have nothing.
But if it's technically their studio, I guess Google would probably say, no, we own it. But hopefully, they work out a deal. I don't know. Come on, Google, have a heart. Have a heart, Google. Come on, do something here.
Yeah, Googs.
Come on, Googs. Is Googs calling at 2 a.m. drunk? Hey, you're only going to search with me. No more of that Bing bullshit. Just me.
Granddaddy Googs.
No, I don't want you going to Jeeves. F Jeeves. That's me doing Googs' voice when he's drunk.
Googs.
Googs drinks a lot of whiskey. So what is it? It's still $10 a month for Stadia Pro. There. I said to myself I wanted to give it a trial just to see if I could try out a modern game on my system and see what it would run. If I played Cyberpunk and it's better than a PS4, it's like, why not try it out even though you don't really own it once they shut the servers down, you know?
Right.
But I want to at least demo it and see. Because like I said, I have fiber optics, so I mean, if it doesn't work with me, even with Wi-Fi though, but if it doesn't work with me, everyone else is going to have issues with it. So anyway, anything else to add there with this? I feel bad if you bought the Founders Edition bundle for $129.
Especially because they're giving away like they were giving away the controllers and the Chromecasts for at least a month through YouTube. I think it was last month.
What does a Chromecast cost?
I don't know.
Like $20? What does a Chromecast even cost?
They might still be doing that. I almost did, just so I could play fucking Gunsport, but I didn't.
You're gonna wait for it to come out somewhere else?
Yeah.
Hey, your friend got paid though, right? You got paid that exclusive Google bucks.
He did, and it got the game out of. I don't know the full story. I mean, he's published a number of games, but that one was constantly back and forth in limbo, and it was Stadia is the reason why he was able to finish the game.
You know what?
So there's good news there.
We should do the CU podcast streaming service and game studios. I'm announcing it right now.
Completely unnecessary game studios.
We'll do Gunsport too. Let's do it. Let's do it. We'll stream it on the podcast. We'll do it on Twitch. Well, that's how you can play it. You watch us play it, and you can pretend you're playing it, and you come along.
I'll let Brandon know that we've announced a sequel.
We announced a sequel. We're pre-announcing it. They do that with movies. Right before the movie comes out for the weekend, or right during the weekend, we're doing the sequel. They do that all the time. We're doing the sequel. It happens. All right. Is that it for this intro?
That's it for this intro.
Oh, this was a fun one.
That was good.